You see, what sin does is that sin alienates us from God. It separates us from God. You see, it makes us God's enemies, and there is an uncrossable chasm between us. You see, but what Jesus did, what Colossians 1 teaches us, is that Jesus reconciled us, that he made peace where once we were aliens and enemies of God. Jesus comes, he reconciles us, he makes peace between us and God. And Colossians 1 says that he does that through his blood, which was shed on the cross. You see, Jesus absorbed all of God's just wrath for our sin, for our mutinous rebellion. Jesus received the right and just penalty that our sin deserved. He paid the penalty our rebellion deserved. He took the hit, and he is the only one that could. You see, our sin against God is an infinite offense because God himself is infinite, and so only one who is infinite could pay the penalty infinitely for us. You see, in Colossians 1, it teaches us that Jesus came to live and die on our behalf so that we might have peace with God, that we might have right relationship with him, that we might have shalom restored. You see, the good news of the gospel that we celebrate and remember at Christmas is not just that God gives us peace, but that he gives us himself, because he himself is our peace. You see, and if you don't have peace with him, you will never have peace anywhere else. The great 19th century preacher Charles Spurgeon, he said it this way. He says, "I looked at Christ, and the dove of peace flew into my heart. I looked at the dove of peace, but it flew away." You see, what he's saying in that quote, what he's saying is that peace is a byproduct of right relationship with God. Peace is not something you pursue in and of itself. You see, peace is a byproduct of right relationship with God. Peace with God is the key to peace everywhere else, and Jesus came to make that possible. Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones, he adds this. He says, "We do not need instruction. We have had enough of that throughout the centuries. The Greek philosophers had tried it as well as all the biblical writers, but people do not listen to it, and they do not put it into practice. Men and women, what we need is new hearts. Hearts that will love the light and hate the darkness. And until then, they will never have peace." Christ knew that what we needed is to be renewed. He knew that what we needed was new hearts, new natures, new lives. And in Christ Jesus, new hearts are possible. You see, that's the good news that we celebrate at Christmas. That's the message that we celebrate at Christmas, that we were dead in our sin, aliens, enemies to God, but God came himself to make peace with us.